He was 17 when love towards young Jewish woman knocked his door. It was the first love. He fell first and she fell harder. Her name was Tamar Ben-Ami. They met during the time his parents returned to Israel and started living in a city named Haifa in northern Israel due to the occupation of his village by Israeli army. He was also a member of Israeli Communist Party. Darwish joined the party not because he felt ideologically in tune with it, but for the reason that the Israel Communist Party was the only political framework that gave legitimacy to the expression of Palestinian national sentiments. This was the time when they met. Darwish used to send her intimate love letters for decades. Even at the age of 70, she has still preserved those letters carefully. The relationship itself, the first for the poets as well as Ben-Ami, who was 16 when she met Darwish. But their love story has led too much headache and sorrow for both. This is the rare picture of Palestine poet Mahmoud Darwish and his Israeli lover Rita, about whom he wrote, "I love you despite the nose of my tribe, my city, and the chain of the custom. But I'm afraid if I sell everyone, you will sell me, and I will return with disappointment." During 1964, when Mahmoud Darwish wrote a defiant poem, "Write Down, I'm an Arab," lands him to prison, she visited him where Darwish wrote, "Between sand and water, she said I love you, and between desire and torture, I said I love you. And when the officer asked what she was doing here, she answered, 'Who are you?' And he said, 'And who are you?' She replied, 'I'm his sweetheart, you bastard, and I have come with him all the way to gate of his prison to say goodbye. What do you want with him?' He said, 'You should know that I'm an officer.' 'I too will be next year,' she said. With this, she brought out her military induction papers. The officer then smiled and pulled me away to prison. The following year, the war erupted and he was put in prison again. He thought of her. What's she doing now? She may be in Nablus or another city, carrying a light rifle as one of the conquerors. Here, Darwish imagines her to be enlisting as a soldier for the Israeli Defense Forces, helping, integrating, and torturing a young Arab girl who is as beautiful as she used to be. She has transitioned from being a lover to taking on the role of his worst enemy. So has saying, this becomes one of the tragic love story along with Romeo Juliet and Layla Majnun. They belong to warring social groups who have sown enmity between them and want the destruction of opposite camp. He had written 5 or 6 poems to her throughout the 1960s to 1970. In 1992, the last time Darwish wrote a poem dedicated to her was after their meeting in Paris. It was titled Rita's Winter. Rita is the name he used in all his poems dedicated to her. In this poem, Darwish says in the end, "Out of my ignorance, I called you a homeland, and I forgot homelands are taken away." You guys can also read his one of the best poems about her called Rita and the Rifle. It expresses the depth of his love towards Tamar Ben-Ami. Until then, Assalamu alaikum.